In this video, we will continue the installation of Syncthing on the translator machine, which is typically a tablet. This is the tablet that will be sending the data to the collector. The first step in preparing a tablet for use with Syncthing is to install the QRC Code Reader app. So you go to Play Store, QR Code Reader, search for that, and I like to find the one, there we go, barcode scanner, XY Ing Team. That's the one that seems that I prefer to use with Syncthing. So let's go ahead and install this barcode scanner. Accept. Perfect. Open it just to make sure it's going to launch. So let's cancel out of that. Now we want to install Syncthing. There we go. Install. Syncthing should be an icon, the blue with the nodes interconnecting. So let's go ahead and open Syncthing and let's configure it. You can see we're going to have 3 screens to go to, so let's continue. Grant permission for Syncthing to use storage. Yes. Please. Permission granted. Continue. Grant permission. Allow. Permission granted and finish. Now this is slightly different than the Windows version we worked with in the last video. It doesn't look at all the same. But if we go over here to the 3-layer hamburger, we can go down here to Web GUI. And now this screen looks identical to the Windows. Allow anonymous usage reporting. We say no because why share our bandwidth, and it's expensive, and why tell them where we are. So the first thing we do in Actions is we give the machine a name that's more sensical than Lenovo, unless that makes perfect sense for you. But I typically think you may want to have the translator name, Chuck's Lenovo, tab 3. That's a good name. Default path is off the root. That's going to be just fine for a tablet. GUI, there's nothing to change there, but once again, 8384. Connections. So once again, you're going to want to decide on your situation. If you are in a situation where you do not want the data leaving the room, then you would deselect these 3 options. And then the data will not go past the Wi-Fi network that it's on, or will not go past the local area network. But if, for example, this tablet will be going with a translator to a coffee shop where they will be updating periodically, then you're going to want to have these enabled so that at a later date, when as the translator is working, you can grab their changed data. Ignore devices, ignore folders. We're just going to leave that alone. So save. All right, now we're ready to add a remote device. And the remote device that we want to add is our collector machine. Now there's two ways to add a remote device. One is to click on this add remote device here. And it gives us the Syncthing machines that it already sees on this network. The problem is you don't know which one of these is configured to be our collector. The way I like to add devices on a tablet is I like to exit the GUI, the web GUI, back to devices here, add device, and you see this QRC code scanner. You click on that, and now you go over, and there's my collector machine. And as I get closer, the QRC code scanner fills in that string automatically. In name, I'm going to make this collector 1, just like in the last video. Compression. I like to compress everything. You have the options of not compressing any of the data, just compressing the data surrounding, the metadata, the X and that's just all that overhead, or everything. And I compress everything. I think that it's there. Let's make use of it. The introducer you will want shut off. And that's everything right there. So now we add. It begins with it's disconnected. Okay, now we've flipped over to the collector machine, to that view. And we can see that the collector machine is being prompted. Do you want to add Chuck's Lenovo Tab 3? It wants to connect. Yes. So at the collector machine, you will add device. Perfect. There's nothing to share yet. Compression, I say all data. And save. And we have our first remote device on the collector. And it's unused because the tablet has not yet shared anything up with us. Let's go back to the tablet. All right, so it takes a few seconds, but now finally connector 1 is up to date. So I want to go back to the web GUI because I'm probably more comfortable with that. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unshare the camera folder. Let's remove that. Great. Now we need to share the folders that we would like to send to the collector machine. Translation Studio has its working directory where it keeps the raw folders and files that it's reading and writing to. You'll want to, in my estimation, replicate that to your collector machine for safekeeping. You will also want to get Translation Studio does an automatic backup every couple minutes. And that automatic backup includes all the Git history, and it creates a very nice, easily importable repository. And that's what you're going to want to replicate from the tablet to the collector machine. and then import that. So I recommend grabbing 2 folders. You can certainly grab more than that, but at bare minimum, you're going to want the 2 folders. You're going to want the automatic export folder, and you're going to want the raw storage folder so that you're sure that you've got everything in case something breaks with the export or something is incomplete with the export. So let's go ahead and add our first folder. So click on Add Folder. And down here in Folder Path, if you click on it, you can see that it starts out, it's getting ready, it's prepared to make its own directory. Backspace over that, and now you can scroll through the directories. And there's Translation Studio right there. So we're going to look at that. So the folder I recommend adding first is the Translation Studio folder itself. And actually, you see there's multiple folders under the Translation Studio directory. And we're going to want the top one, Backups, and the very bottom one, Translations. Translations is where the actual raw data, if you will, is stored. And you're going to want a copy of that. So let's tap on that. Good. Make sure that that's in play. And now we're going to want to give that a name. This name will be the name that shows up on the collector machine in a subdirectory. So you go on to label it in something that's sortable. So let's say you want to sort them these projects by BTS. Let's say you're working on multiple languages. You may want to sort it, have a name like ES 419. I would recommend that the first part of the label is the project name. Let's say PMY, Papua Malay, dash, computer 1. And now when we have computer 2, computer 3, computer 4, if you label it PMY-computer 2, PMY-computer, they'll all sort very nicely. Computer 1, and this is translations. And you'll want to give it the name of the folder that's yours. Just like that.